Good evening, everyone. Hope everybody is well. Good evening. How are we doing? Let me see. Everything okay? It seems to be. So we're not that far away from the election now. It's the 16th of November. We're barely, about 2 weeks away, nearly, give or take. So we won't find it. The busy time's coming up. Basically nearly 2 weeks, yeah. So yes, the time is ticking. What about when here now? Deportations and self-deportation. So I'm just taking notice up in the video. There's a video I have recorded. I should have uploaded it today, but I upload it tomorrow if I have a chance. I've been editing it a bit and stuff like that, so that's what I'm doing. Hello, Brian. Hello, Shani. How are we doing? I just wiped this down. Give me which in 2 seconds. Just thought of it there because it's on the bottom of my screen. I've been editing it the last few days. Oh, many things, Brian. Many things. With the election coming up now, it's all over the place. So I have a video recorded. I've been editing it before I started. The reason I know I said 8:30 I'll be live. I was finished editing the video and stuff like that, and I was just like, I'm here anyway because I'm recording videos, this evening, and I'm finished before the time. I thought it'd be finished at 8:30, but I said I'd go early. So that's why I'm here at the moment, just to say. So we chat among ourselves for a few minutes, then we get started. How does that sound? Give it a second. But again, apologies again if anybody thinks I was going to be live at 8:30. Again, things happen, as I say. It's roughly around that time, basically. But yeah, that was a lot of things to talk about. Sinn Féin has released some dribble. We'll talk about it in a second because they're completely jumping. They're completely not focusing on the thing they should be focusing on. We'll see in a second because I'm just after reading through it there. I didn't know they were doing this kind of thing, but we talk about it because there's a lot to be talked about in terms of that. Because I think Sinn Féin just want to ignore the problem and just talk about something else that has no really relevance. But we get to that in a few minutes. But I hope everybody's well. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday so far. I tell you, the 16th of November already. Christmas soon. So I hope we'll be soon getting the Christmas socks on and stuff. What was I saying? I show you this one here. Speaking of Christmas socks and stuff. What am I saying? Yeah, so I got these as a gift for Christmas. Knocked the whole place down. How about that? So I got Christmas socks already. So there you go. Already I got Christmas gifts. I don't know where I have one sock. I have one sock. The other one. I don't know where the other one is. It's gone somewhere. Oh, that's in my hand. I wish. I'm sorry. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. It's in my other hand. Anyway, that's what I got. So yeah, we get to that. I done a whole video on that today. Excuse me. When we get to that, that'll be literally the first thing we're going to be talking about because I've done a video on it. It's very far right, don't you agree? He's apparently very far right now because remember the time they were going around the whole lot. Mary Lou McDonald said it a few times that nobody has the right to object to anything in their area. Has a veto. That's the word they use. Nobody has a right to a veto. Roger Gorman has said it. He probably said it himself. Nobody has a right to a veto, but not in my area. It's always when it gets to their doors, is that going to happen? Because I would hate to see if it's a refugee accommodation or anything like that or asylum centre. You probably lose the plot, because he's lost the plot over it already. But we'll get to it in a second. So Aaron Only's not here, I don't think, at the moment, is he? He probably is a bit too early for people yet. But Aaron Only, his birthday's today, so make sure to wish him a happy birthday if you see him about. Apparently the snow too coming, so we'll be in a winter wonderland on Monday. It'd be like the 1st of March all over again, just a ton of snow just torn up. So that's going to be good. We'll give it a few more minutes and then we get started. How does that sound? Because people probably wouldn't be taking. Hello, good evening, Sean. How are we doing? How are we keeping this Saturday evening? Hope all is well with you. Around the hills of Donegal. Yeah, actually, speaking of Donegal, I actually just thought of something there. Give me a second, son. Speaking of Donegal, I actually just thought you actually just reminded me of something. I literally seen it yesterday, and I was like about it. Something in Donegal. Where am I here? Sorry, I just actually remembered. Give me a second. You talk among yourself for a second. It's Sean actually just reminded me. Yeah, I was thinking I've seen this. Yeah, we'll get to that. It's a bit down the line, but I was thinking I've seen something from Donegal. You see in a second what I'm talking about. Sean probably already knows about it. But it's speaking of Donegal, just clicked in my head. So yeah. So we're looking forward for a snow day now Monday. Hopefully there'll be a bit of snow and it'll be nice. As long as it's not too bad. It's always having a bit of snow, but you know what? Just a fuck ton of snow. Is my phone over there? It is. Probably should have sent my phone here because then end up somebody wing me and I have the one over the other side of the room to get it. Because that's usually what happens when I'm live. Everybody always wings me. So yeah, that's usually what happens. Let me see. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Imagine if it was an asylum set that would go mad. So not from their area. Do you remember Fan Patrick? A few of them went up with a tent. Where was it? In Hull area, wherever it was. It was a which area of Dublin anyway, the elite are. She nearly lost the plot. It was disaster. That's the way she phrased it. It's a disaster. Two people came up with tents and put it in the park beside the rich people's houses. It's a disaster. That's the way she phrased it. You think she'd say, I open my door and let you in. But it's a disaster. That's the way she phrased it. It's a disaster. Like, the way I thought she was phrasing it, you think the whole area that she lived in just like literally collapsed or something like that. That's the way she phrased it. So and then she'd be like, we're not doing enough for refugees. Even though she should probably take some in. But anyway, I think we get started. So I'd probably just start on the thing I was just saying about in Donegal. Because Sean just reminded me. So this is from the Donegal Daily. So there's a Fianna Fáil, Sinn Féin council, they're all the same in there. But long story short, I feel sorry for this, your councillor. She's in a mobile home. She's pretty much in the same really position as your man in Cavan, pretty much. She doesn't have a house, and I do feel sorry because again, she is a young woman with two. Of 1 year old, she has one child. Yeah, like I do feel sorry for the woman 25, that she doesn't have a home, etc., etc. Yeah, like even on a councillor's wage is something like 2,000 something euro a week. It's 2,000 something euro a week, I think, a councillor's wage. I think, isn't it something like that? Oh, it's 1,000 something. It's a lot of money I know they get. So as she says, is maybe 1,000 euro a month. But it's something like that, a councillor's wage, because a TD's wage is insane too. Because a councillor's wage is 80,000 a year or something like that. So it's a lot of money too at the same time. And then the TD's wage is 120,000, which is insane money to take. But I do feel sorry about this woman. But my point to the matter is, if she's a local councillor in Donegal, I don't know what part of Donegal, the Strandford, this area of Donegal. So what hope is there for anybody else? That's what I mean to say. If a councillor can't afford accommodation, what hope is there for the world? Well, not the world, but what hope is there for the only Joe? But I hope this woman just gets out again, especially her young child. But again, the Sinn Féin would say, let's bring in the world. Mary Lou McDonald said the other day, we're not bringing enough refugees in and stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense because you have to put them somewhere. So it doesn't make any sense. Why would you put pressure on a housing system that's already collapsing? It doesn't make any sense. But Sinn Féin, the majority of it doesn't make any sense what to come out with anyway. But I just want to briefly touch on that. So hopefully this council situation improves for a family. Yeah, like they object to the construction of new house. But I do feel sorry for the woman again. She is a young woman. She doesn't deserve to be in a mobile home. Especially because sooner or later they'll be at the same crack as they did with your man. And because of a young child too. So hopefully something be sorted with her too. Yeah, like the project. That's what happened the last. I can go back to this. Just when you reminded me earlier on about it. Like in Cavan, the last local authority election, they were crucified here. They used to have 3 councillors. Sinn Féin here in the three municipal authorities. And then when the local authority election came, they were completely wiped out. And that was because they objected to so many houses. They objected to every house being built left, right, and centre in Cavan, in the council chamber. And then only one of them returned. And now there's 3 still in the council. Now they got the numbers back. But in the last local authority election, they were crucified for here. But nonetheless, they haven't all the what do you call it, the social housing projects and stuff like that. They're voting for it anyway at the moment. But back a few years ago, they wouldn't. They were voting against it. Because they learned their lesson, Sinn Féin to take here. That people were not very happy with it. Because it's a big drop having 3 seats and then going down to 1. You've done something feels bad when you see that. But they're going to do bad anyway in the local election, with the general election coming up here. They're going to do bad all over the country, Sinn Féin. It's not going well for them. Let's put it that way. It's not going well. And again, it's their own fault. They won't take a hard position. They're just going to follow Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. And that's what they're doing. They're following Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. They don't have a brain of their own. They're just kind of following them. They're basically, there's not much difference between Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. There's not much difference. Especially Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, they're one and the same. They're basically the one basic party. Sinn Féin's getting close to that, to be told honest. There may be a few things they'll differ on. A few things, but not much now. They're pretty much, for the so-called opposition party, there's not much they differ on, if that makes any sense. As I said, they're not like the party at the back in the day. And Sinn Féin meets ourselves. Imagine that. And it's everybody else but ourselves. It's Westminster, it's the European Union, etc., etc. But nothing for Ireland, It's not what the party was founded on. Let's put that way. What they're talking about nowadays. But that's just my opinion. Again, people are entitled to their own opinion, but that's just the way I see it. They're not the party you should probably support, to be totally honest. Where am I going now? I forget where I'm going. What was the candidate? Yeah, the Green Party candidate, yes. So, not overlooking my kitchen. So that's the objection that the Green Party TD, what do you call him? He's the spokesman for the Green Party for House. Imagine that, as the spokesman for House for the Green Party. And he objects to 330 new homes being landed on his doorstep because it's out his foot kitchen, not overlooking my kitchen. I would just click into this so I just see what it is. Because I would forget his name, but he is the spokesperson and stuff. And also he proposed the referendum on the right to house, and it's very hypocritical, isn't it? Proposing the referendum on the right to house, but then rejects. But we all know what the right to house means. They're just basically anybody could turn up and get a house. It'd be like New York City, basically. You know the way New York City is a sanctuary city. So basically everybody in the mother could get a house then, if it's in the Constitution and stuff like that. So that's what they're aiming to do. But we see if that goes ahead, but it's probably not going to succeed, hopefully. But yeah, it's no facts and stuff here. I keep forgetting his name. But long story short, it's very hypocritical. I forgot about this part, that he wanted to bring in the right to house and referendum. But it's bad enough anyway, not overlook my kitchen. We should have said we were going to build asylum sector there. He probably would generally lose the plot if he heard that. Because how many, you have to ask, how many refugees did he take in, I suppose? Because I think we all know our answer. Hello, David. How are you doing? I think that's the next local town election, I think. I'm not too sure now. Don't quote me that. I think that's when it is. It's 5 years' time, isn't it? Yeah, that would be 2029, wouldn't it? Because it's already 2020. You have to think about it. In less than a month's time, it'd be 2025. Think about that. So yeah, wouldn't it be 2029? I actually don't know when the local election. But you get what I'm saying. I think that's what Sean means by that. But we see what happens. We're not going to say either way because it's a long time away. It is a long time away. Even though this year flew, we see what happens. We give it time and we see. But I think this is very hypocrite. I'm sure you would agree. Especially I forgot about this bit. He proposed to referendum on the right to housing, and then objects to them. But anyway, we live and we learn. I think that's what. Don't quote me now, David. That might be. Yeah, probably is. Yeah, 5 years away. Yeah, you might be right. I don't know. It depends. They might go early, but we see what happens. I suppose it's a good while away yet. I think that's what it is. West Cavan, yes. It's already West Cavan. We don't have to annex it and rename it to West Cavan because it's already West Cavan. Yeah, OT is just again. Why would they question Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael? Because they got bailed out by them. They got hundreds of billions from Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael in a bailout. OT should be bankrupt by now. Like OT should be on its last legs and gone. The only reason why they're still around OT because they've been bailed out. They were bailed out by the government, by you, not by the government, but by you and me. The government volunteered to bail them out basically on behalf of the Irish people. The Irish people didn't say, "Yo, we're going to bail them out." The government volunteered to bail them out because why would they bite the hand that's feeding them? That's the thing. They can't be out. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, but we see what happens. Yeah. You never know. You never know what they could do, basically, in this country. If they could get away with it. That's what I'm trying to say. In 5 years' time, they could get away with probably anything. If they passed this hate speech bill, etc., etc., they could do anything. If that makes any sense, I'm sure you know yourself. But yeah, so hello, Gordon. How are you? Yeah, generation could be called out. Yeah, you're right in that. But you never know what they could do. But again, they could be by elections through the year too. We see. I suppose to move on to this. So this is heartbreaking. Well, no, that's the same thing. Sorry. So this is a councillor, a Sinn Féin councillor, in Dublin, in Tala area. So this really tells you all you need to know in answer to the video I put up the other day about housing and homelessness. Meet Jack. He was forced into homeless with his mum when he was served a notice to quit after 10 years of wedding. This is Jack Pugh from his homeless hut. He wants to know whose future, and it's true. Like securing your future. Is this the future? Like a young child looking out into the street in a homeless hotel in a house, like basically a place for homeless people. And I don't does he say what age he is, but he's very young. Like he is very very young. So they have some backbone, Helen McAtee and the rest of these Fine Gael cronies. Because if this is secure in a future, I don't know what to tell you because it's a sad state of affairs. And he's not the only one like it. There's hundreds like it in the country, unfortunately. And again, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, unfortunately, they're probably going to be re-elected. But I hope Simon Howes sleeps well at night, knowing that this is the Ireland, the new energy in Fine Gael, secure in the future. This is the future. Either this or either sleeping in the homeless shelter or on the streets or people leaving in their droves. That's basically the future for young Irish people. His age and unfortunately my age too, people in their 30s. But as I said in the video a few days ago, if it's bad now, what's it going to be like in 20 years? What's it going to be like in 10 years? What's it going to be like in 5 years in the next general election? Because if it couldn't, in my opinion, it couldn't really get much worse. Because I think we're already at peak. Because again, this shouldn't happen in the first world country. Simple as that. But I can only hope that this poor child, along with his mum, will get some kind of council house, will get something. I can only hope something be sorted for him because it's a terrible thing for a child having to go up in a homeless accommodation, doing his homework on the floor, etc., etc. It's a terrible thing. Like it is generally a terrible thing. It's the worst thing, and especially Fine Gael have some backbone to have to come out and say securing your future, because the only future they are securing is the World Economic Forum's agenda, etc., etc. And that's pretty much it. That's the only future they're securing, that you eat the bug, etc., etc. In my opinion, I know people would criticize me for that, but I don't see what future. When you see this kind of thing, I don't see what future. And it's either that or they go on the boat and never to return. So I don't see the future in that. But long story short, I would think about who you vote for in the election, because Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil have done fuck all for anybody. Excuse my language, but it's just the simple truth. Fine Gael, for me, I wouldn't vote Fine Gael if they paid me, to be totally honest. And that's to be totally honest. Because seeing that picture, just that picture alone, not a hope I vote Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. Not a hope for something like that. Not a hope. Simple as a young child and his mother in a homeless accommodation. Not a hope I would. Especially, and I don't even have to go down the other list of stuff. But just seeing that picture alone, straight away, I'm like, no, I'm not voting them back in, because it's not acceptable. I shouldn't be accepted, and I'm not going to vote them back in for him to be like that child and his mum to be there for the next 10 years, 20 years in that homeless shelter with no house, etc., etc. I can't do it. Simple as that. Especially seeing that, I couldn't do it. As simple as that, I couldn't do it. Because you had to think about the children like that. Not, people think of themselves and the economic situation and stuff, but you had to think about that poor child there. where he's sleeping tonight in a hotel in a homeless accommodation. It's just not. It's not acceptable. Simple as that. And change needs to happen. And Fianna Fáil and Fianna Gael have been there for far too long, and this is the same thing over and over and over again. It keeps happening. So I never would vote Fianna Fáil and Fianna Gael. Even if they came now and give me €1,000, I wouldn't take it off them. I tell them to shove it up the hole. The bit of answer because it's dirty money. It's the devil's money. That's the bit of answer. First, that's a lot of people. But you're very welcome, David. Thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. Does that make any sense? To young cabin power, I'll try my best then, right? Let's put it that way. But you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. Hope all is well. Yeah, but just even seeing that picture alone, I just say to anybody canvassing for Fianna Gael or Fianna Fáil, particularly Fianna Gael, show them that photo there and see what they have to say, because I don't think they could argue that they haven't really got a leg to stand on canvassing. Where am I here? So this is the former Taoiseach, and Leo Varadkar, obviously not standing for election, but this poor woman was asked them questions about the house in crisis, and straight away the only thing you see is running away. You see the way they're running away. They have no answers. They just run away. That's about it. They run away from the woman. And that's what's happening. And this was in Virginia now in County Cavan, because you can see here, this is the theatre in Virginia, and T.P. O'Reilly's posted. So this is Virginia. And you can see him, he's running away. Because he has no answers. Because this one was asked him when he was Taoiseach, how come this happened and how come this happened? And he's no answers. He can't answer. As you see here, just runs away. The same with Simon Harris. Anytime anybody says boo to Simon Harris, he runs away. The same with your man, I shared it on the community post. He was arguing, in fairness, the man should get a medal for it, because he really tore into Simon Harris, and so rightly so. But he had no solution. Simon Harris had no answer from him. He waffled on and waffled on and waffled on, and then ran away when people noticed that he was not getting the upper hand. Like, look, you can see here, Taoiseach, like, you think he would sit and stand it and listen to the woman, especially with RT. RT won't show it now. This is RT. They won't show it. But you can see he's not even listening. He's running away. And that's what I'm saying. He run away. He didn't listen. He didn't want to listen. And the same with the rest of Fianna. It was Fianna Gael councillors there from Cavan. They ran away. They didn't want to listen to the woman, because she was saying, what have you done since she's been in government? Because Fianna Gael is the longest in government. They've done nothing. And she was saying about different things like that. They all ran away. So an RT didn't probably have the camera even on. They probably turned it off when they noticed that your woman was actually asking tough questions. So he just ran away. And again, he's not seeking re-election. We don't know why, because the reason why is because people in his own constituency don't like him. And because, again, this is the same fellow, again, just to add, he wanted to commemorate the black and tans and stuff like that. So I don't know what to say about that, but, you can make up your own opinion there. But long story short, this man has a lot to say and a lot to account for his time in office. But anyway. Hello, Lava. How are you doing, Logan? How are you doing? Good to see you. You're very welcome to that. As I was saying to you in the comments, there's not many people called Logan with the second name, or even the first name is becoming more common. But I hope you're doing well. It's good to have another Logan in the chat. What else? Hello, Little England. How are you doing? I hope you're well. And then leave the link. Yeah, we can go on for an hour, Sean. That's what I'm trying to say. I could write the book on it, if you don't answer. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. But it's good to see you. I hope everybody's well. You're very welcome. So yeah. So again, the majority of these politicians, I've seen hundreds of videos of people asking questions of the politicians. Simon Harris, we've seen Leo Varadkar there. Particularly Simon Harris, and even Roderick O'Gorman has been. I'll show you probably in a second, Roderick O'Gorman. But the only thing they can do is run away. That's the only. They don't stand and argue. They run away. That's all they do, because they really do hardly have a leg to stand on, and that's just the thing. It's just run away. Same with Helen McAtee. Helen McAtee was an awful late yesterday, and people were asking the whole questions, and she ran away too. See, that's not a good thing, because the good thing about a good like a good politician, if you stand and argue with the person, well, not argue, but argue your point, I suppose, in a way. So and a lot of them don't want to do that. Yeah, no bother, no bother. Thank you. Um, yeah, like it is a Scottish kind of name. Some of them Scotland. I don't know particularly. Uh, but it is kind of a Scottish. It's kind of a Celtic name as well. Yeah, like it's not good enough. As you seen there, Leo Wacker, the woman was asked him a question, he was walking away, and and there was councillors, that Fine Gael councillors, none of them wanted to really engage, and answer the woman. Hello, good evening now and only. Happy birthday. Hope you're well. Hope you're having loads of cake, etc., etc. You'll be out partying hard. No, it isn't. Don't be sorry to be late. Jesus, it's not school or anything. Don't worry. We're not keeping count. We're not counting the minutes so you're late. Jesus, it's your birthday too. You have an excuse to be late too. So we can put it down your record that you're late, but we can add in that it's your birthday. We'll give you a pass. We'll give you a homework pass. How does that sound? So you don't have to do any homework. Where am I now? Sorry. But I hope you're having a good, happy. I hope you're having a good birthday so far. I hope you're out having a few drinks or something. Or chatting up the women down the local pub. What's it say? But yeah, no, that's all they can do. The one away. I wish. Make it a wish. Go down now this evening and have a few pints. Not a few pints, but have a bit of fun. Enjoy yourself. Because again, the thing about it is, you might as well enjoy it. It's only one time of the year. I think one person said in the comments underneath you earlier on when you responded to the post, it only comes once a year, so you might as well enjoy it. And especially it's Saturday night too. It'd be different if during the week or something like that. But yeah. So I'll just move on. Again, I get to the comments. Don't worry, I won't miss any. But I get, we'll get back to it basically. Anything. So I just want to bring you into this, I suppose, and I talked about it in the video earlier on too. So there's 10 people waiting on trolleys now this morning in Cavan General Hospital, which is not that bad because I often heard it'd be 50, 60, 70. But still, nonetheless, it shouldn't happen. People sleeping on trolleys and wards, to get into the emergency room, etc., etc. But it's not as bad as obviously in some parts. Limerick is pretty bad. Mayo is pretty bad. So nearly 400 people, think about this, they're lying on trolleys and hospital wards during the night. And just to say it straight, you don't get much sleep in the hospital ward. I'm sure people would agree. And if there was ever on a trolley, you don't get much sleep. At least if you're in a ward, take for example, in a ward with beds, etc., etc., you can get some sleep. But unfortunately, in a hospital ward, when there's people walking up and down all the time throughout the night, not many people get sleep, and it's not acceptable that people just left in trolleys and wards. As I said about in that video too, my father a few years ago, 5 years ago, was left in the janitor's closet after his operation. So that's where he was put, into a janitor's closet, because there was no room on the ward, so they had to just leave him in the janitor's closet, which is, I don't know really what to say about that, but the one thing he said was the plus side of it. At least he got a bit of sleep because the people on the ward could get no sleep. So at least he had a bit of sleep basically, because it was a lot more quieter than the ward, etc., etc. Because they had to close the door, etc., etc. on them. So, but still not a good thing, I'm sure, for a first world country that spends billions on the HSE and it doesn't work. Water. Yeah, there was something there. Water. Just actually thinking about you there. There's new trains or something. Let me see. Just when I'm here, I just seen something yet the other day. See if I can find it. Might be wrong. But the Irish government got a new train or something. I can't remember. I remember somebody saying something to me about that, and I was thinking of you at the time when I was something. It could be wrong. I know it is. Yeah, I might. I don't know. You probably know about it already. Oh, give me a second. So this, the other day. So here we go. I'll show you this just because Walter's here. I'm just gonna show him. He probably already knows, but just to show you too. Sorry, I didn't plan to show this, but just when he's here, because he always talks about trains and stuff, and I actually know about something that's going on. So this is going to be a new train, which is very fancy looking. I like the colours. It's the Irish kind of flag, really in a way. The green and then the white and then the orange. So that's it's very cool looking, to be totally honest. It's very good looking train, to be totally honest. So this is what the 4-star plus train will be. So this is going to be new for Dublin, basically, really. The greater Dublin area. So there you go. You probably already know about this, but it's going to take 9 billion years for them to probably do it. But they have one of them anyway, I think. So there you go. So no, but it does look. I like the colours now. They are very good looking colours because they are the Irish colours. Which is about time there's Irish flags up somewhere, because nowadays it's every other flag but the Irish flag. But actually, there's an Irish train, the Irish flag train. So at least that's good. Yeah, you probably know, but I seen that the other day, and I was like, I was thinking of you at the time, and I was like, I share that to you next time I see you. But I don't know. Did you know about that? Again, I'm not the most high tech person. What kind of engine and stuff like that it runs on, but something to look into, I suppose. It's only even aware on the Irish Railway site. I was thinking about that when somebody was telling me about that the other day, and I was like, straight away, who would like to know about that? And there was something about new buses too, but I can't remember. I don't know much about it. Did you not hear about it? I suppose you didn't hear about it because I thought you would say it straight away as soon as you came in. But yeah, it's a good thing. I like seeing trains and stuff like that. Even when I was in Helsinki, there, I did that when I was in the train station. The one stage, the Lapland Express came in, etc., etc. Big two-story train. It's quite impressive. But that's what I to see it and stuff like that. Yeah, like it's pretty cool colours. I'm sure you would agree. But again, take 900 years for it to be probably put out. What fancy? We'll get to that in a few minutes. That's what I mean. But there's a lot of stuff to go through. But we get to that. Don't worry, Gordon. Stick with me when we find out. So what the talk about? So I mentioned at the beginning of the stream Sinn Féin. So I don't think this is a problem straight away. I don't know what Sinn Féin's trying to do, but I presume they're just trying to move the goalposts. They try and say to people, no, we're doing this. So EU citizens. So take for example a citizen from Finland or Sweden has to come to Ireland, comes to Ireland for work or something. Because again, you can come to Ireland as a European citizen for 3 months or so, and a few months, I think. Like in Finland, take for example, I could go over for 3 months now and work there, and I wouldn't need a visa, etc. But after the 3 months, I need a residency permit to stay in Finland as a European citizen, And I don't think anybody has an issue with that because that's what the European Union should be anyway. That you have common travel area for within the European Union citizens. But it's the fact that people coming from from countries in Africa, South America, and from Asia too. We have a lot of Indians, take for example, coming here on work permits and never leaving, and that's what's happening. And we have to say it straight. And Sinn Féin's kind of proposing something that's not really an issue. It's only maybe the Eastern European countries might be some issues there with some Polish people coming on work visas and not going. There's issues with that. There might be some kind of issues, but not as much as people from Africa, etc., coming. And then obviously Indians coming because there was a few Indians caught that were not supposed to be in the country. They came on a work visa and they didn't leave. So I think Sinn Féin is a bit stupid in this plan. I think they should be more worried about outside the European Union. I think we would all agree on that. And because I don't think the European, in some cases, I say some people could stay over their time, and obviously that's okay. But I don't think registering. I think registering from outside the European Union, making sure they leave, etc., it's important. And come here on proper visas. Because again, some of them come on tourist visas and stay. It's the same what happens in the United States. They go on tourist visas and they end in the United States and then they just disappear. That's what's happened. So Sinn Féin are kind of moving the goalposts. They're not going to tackle well, how would you put it? They're not going to climb over the big wall. They're going to climb over the small wall to say we're doing something. Basically, that's all they're trying to do here. That we're taking a bit of a stand, on a problem that's not really that big. It's more outside the European Union is the problem, if that makes any sense. And I think everybody would agree it's more outside the European Union. So Sinn Féin's kind of it's outside the European. As I say, it's India, it's people from Algeria, Georgia, etc., etc. Now I know some people say Georgia's trying to join the European Union, and then obviously Nigeria, other countries like that. But you get what I'm saying? That's the issue, I suppose. It's not European citizens in that term. Again, as I say, there could be some Polish. I have often heard of Polish people and Latvian people staying after the work permit, take for example, 6 months, take for example, they stay afterward and disappear. And obviously then people should be deported. The same if Irish person went over to Poland now and worked and they didn't get the proper documentation to stay for a longer period of time. Take for example, they went to Finland. They can stay for 3 months, but after that you need a residency permit. If somebody didn't have it, they should be deported and should be sent back to Ireland. If an Irish person was over there and didn't get it, I would have no problem with the Finnish government sending somebody home if they didn't apply. Because again, you apply by their rules. As simple as that. and I'm sure we would all agree on that. But I think Sinn Féin is just not wanting to acknowledge the elephant in the room and just trying to do something else. Makes any sense? Going the Lapland Express. Yeah, Santa Claus and stuff like that. It's a cool train. Because I happened just to be in the train station. There's other trains too that are pretty cool. There's a movement train too with movements on it, etc. etc. They're pretty cool trains. Yeah, but we'll get to that in a second. Don't worry, we'll get to the short and stuff like that in a second. How does that sound? I don't know about El Salvador. I don't think so. It might be a bit too far. I think they're more worried about going to the United States more than, yeah, I've seen I've seen the train. Yeah, it was in the dock when I was there at the train station that time. But you get what I'm saying. They do come on tourist visas and they stay after the tourist visas. But I do say that for European Union citizens, I think Sinn Féin are completely just not wanting to acknowledge the big problem. They're talking about maybe a small problem. It's more from outside. I think everybody can agree it's more from outside the European Union, and to do with people coming from seeking asylum, etc., etc. So I don't get it, to be honest, but I know. Because I wouldn't mind if it was all cases, say, for example, European Union citizens and people from everywhere else, take, for example, they have to register and, keep track and where they are, etc., etc. But it's just European Union citizens, which, again, some Polish people don't go back, some Latvians don't go back, some Lithuanians don't go back. You get what I'm saying? That could be an issue in some regards. But it's more from people outside the European Union. As I say, some Indians coming on tourist visas. Like there was a fellow in Cavan. He was from Bangladesh, not India, but Bangladesh. And he came on the tourist visa, in the terms of a tourist visa to stay for a few weeks as a tourist, right? And he just ended up being here for a few years. That happened in Cavan. He was here for nearly 4 years before anybody noticed, basically, that he was here. But thankfully, he didn't do anything wrong, and he walked away. But still, he didn't have any right to be here because he didn't apply for residency permit or anything like that. He was only here as a tourist, only here for a few weeks, basically. If that makes sense, you get what I'm saying. Even though he didn't commit any crimes and stuff, but still, at the end of the day, you have to be honest with the country you're going into. Bangladesh. No, Bangladesh is his own country. That's near modern day Myanmar, the civil war, where the civil war is happening with the army and the civilian population. Bangladesh, Pakistan is over the other side of India. Bangladesh is that side of India, going towards Myanmar. But take, for example, that's what I'm saying, because that's what's been happening. That was a few years ago. Now, technically, when he was found out, he did leave on his own accord. He actually did self-portate. He left himself. But he was working in a meat factory, etc., etc. But I'm saying he was only supposed to be here for 4 weeks, and it ended up being 4 years before anybody noticed that he was here. So basically, he was undocumented in the state. Technically, he didn't do any harm, and he didn't commit any crime, technically. But he did break the law, still being here. It's the same if I went over, say, to Bangladesh and I would go with the proper channels, etc., etc. Because again, you have to be upfront with where you're going, because at the end of the day, you're going into their country, you respect their rules, you respect whatever they do. It's as simple as that. I'm sure people would agree with that. To just be upfront with them. Simple as that. But again, in some cases, it could be people with bad intentions coming here on tourist visas, etc., etc. But that did happen, and there's probably hundreds of cases like it. Because again, the system in this country, I would upload the video that it was edited earlier on. The system is too overflowed at the moment. There's 30,000 people coming here on asylum applicants for the last 2 years, 35,000. It's insane. So there's no way you could keep track of where everybody is and where they're going and where they're in the state or they're out of the state. Where are they? Imagine trying to keep track of it all. It'd be too much, basically. And again, it took 4 years for him to be found out that he wasn't supposed to be here. And I don't know how they even found him. How they found it out. I presume somebody locked into something and found it. Yeah, but at least he was found, anyway. But again, I suppose he didn't cause any trouble. That's the good thing about it. But there's some people that have bad intentions and would cause trouble. Though if you didn't pay €1 in tax, the revenue would be knocking down your door. Don't worry about that. But I don't know. I don't know how they never foreseed it, how they never came across him. But again, there's probably people here longer. There's probably people here 15 years and they never noticed. I suppose it was just probably dumb luck that he was caught. But again, it took 4 years, so he was only supposed to be here for 4 weeks or 5 weeks at most. He was here for 4 years. It's the thing. And it's the same with I would say the same with Irish people in America or Canada or anywhere else. If you go illegal to any other country, or if you go on a tourist visa and don't apply for, say, residency permit, you should be deported back here, because at the end of the day, it's not a good reputation for Irish people. And I would say this to any Irish person that's going anywhere. You go whatever rules they say in Canada. Take, for example, you need a visa from Ireland to go to visit Canada. Take, for example. You go by their rules, because you're going into their country, you respect their laws, etc., etc., etc. Because at the end of the day, they don't have to let you into their country, even on a tourist visa. They can tell you to go home if they want to, and that's just the simple fact of the matter. And that's what I would say. Even if an Irish person did, I would say the same thing. They should be deported back here. It's only fair. That's just about that. You have to be fair with people, and with whatever country you're going into. I think everybody can agree on that. It's just about fairness. Yeah, but he was working in a meat factory. That's what I'm saying. But the majority of people working in meat factories and processing plants, as you probably know yourself, are really people from, there's majority. I know my meat factory here in Cavan. The majority of people working are Polish people, Lithuanian people, Latvian from Eastern Europe. They're the majority of people working in there. So he probably slipped in somehow because he was working in the meat factory. So he probably slipped in. So I don't know why would he have, but he did. He was working in the meat factory anyway. So because again, he wasn't like on the dole, etc. So because if he was on the dole, he would have probably been caught sooner, because they would have found out probably eventually that he's not registered here. So that's the only reason why. He got a permit for being here for tourists. He was coming for as a tourist. So that's what I gather. And this is a few years ago, but he was coming here saying he wanted to go around Ireland as a tourist, spend money as a tourist. And that was granted, and that was it. He didn't have your permit to stay here for good, if that makes any sense. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, and I kind of see what, take for example, Polish people, they can't get people to work in meat factories, etc., etc. So maybe they probably did expect the meat factory, and that's how they found him out. That's probably what happened. But obviously, they probably knew, but they wouldn't say anything. Does that make any sense? But that's just one case of probably 1,000. But as I say, if he was on social welfare, he would have been found probably quicker. Because the state would have been like, hang on a second, we have no records of him ever existing in the state up until this point, So I don't know. I don't know, because he must have had to pay tax to the revenue and stuff. So I don't know how that was never flagged. But beats me. Again, the system is just, it's not the best in this country. Made toast, cheese, and special cup of tea. Jesus, I have the whole 9 yards of stuff. Could have been, yeah, because it is a few years ago. It's about 3 or 4 years ago, so that happened. But they didn't charge him. But the only thing he done was told to be basically leave the country. That's how it happened. Like the safety port. That's what he wasn't fined or anything. Yeah, and in fairness, he did leave, because he did leave because he went on the plane and stuff, and it showed that he was back in Pakistan, back in Bangladesh and stuff like that. So he did leave. But you get what I'm saying. It's simple things like that can happen. It's the same if an Irish person went over now to Bangladesh and done that. I would say the same thing if the Bangladesh authorities found them. They should be sent home. Simple as that. But he did do it. But I have a video coming out about it. I have it recorded and all. But in some cases, it does work. Probably like your man there. Like he didn't, like in fairness, he didn't have any bad intentions. He didn't commit any crime. Well, he did commit a crime, but staying in the country illegally. But he didn't do any harm. Like he didn't kill anybody or anything like that. So at least that's at least a plus, and that's it. But again, there's many instances like that. We could go to every county in the country, and there's probably hundreds of instances like that. And again, only about maybe 5% of these people get caught. That's what I'm trying to say. You just kind of have to be lucky, I suppose, to get caught. You get what I'm saying? But I'm just bringing that up as an example. Take this example. So Sinn Féin's policy about Europeans signing to say they're here, wouldn't work, because the majority of people are from outside the European Union that's coming here at the moment. Take for example, the majority of people that's coming at the moment is Albanians, Georgians, Algerian, Tunisian, and stuff like that. If you get it, you get what I'm saying. So it wouldn't. They're not in the European Union. Georgians applying for the European Union, but apart from that, it's more Africa, them kind of countries. They're applying for asylum, etc., etc. And as I say, India too, with people coming on tourist visas. Yeah, like China and India, uh, are the most polluted countries in the world. Like they account for nearly 60% of the pollution in the world. And then they say a few people born in Turkey are dangerous. No, but you know the way Georgia had a referendum, I think, recently, like in the Caucasus. I'm not talking about, yeah, Georgia in the Caucasus, like underneath Russia there, beside Azerbaijan, etc., there. Then they not have a vote to join the European Union or something like that a few weeks ago. Because that's the only way it would probably be reasonable to do that. Because again, there's a good few Georgian men coming here. Yeah, he probably should, but at least he left. I suppose that's the main thing. If he didn't leave, he should have. He should have been the other way. But I suppose he did leave, and that was it. It was rejected, or was it rejected? Oh, I'm thinking of. Am I thinking of Moldova? Moldova. I'm thinking of Moldova. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, Moldova voted to join the European Union. Yes. So, sorry, I'm doting. No, it's Moldova. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Apologies, I'm stupid. Uh, but yeah, no, I'm just using it for example. Yeah, like Moldova already had the election, so I think it was a close election. But that's a different category. I suppose getting into that. And then the presidential election was in Moldova. See, I'm probably mixed up with that. But anyway, we can move on, I suppose, to talking about immigration. So, even though it's the most pressing topic. So 21 candidates, the biggest ever in Cavan, as I said in my community post. This is the biggest number ever in Cavan in Monaghan's history. So it's insane. The 21 people have not been nominated. And there's only 5 seats. Think about that for a second. There's only 5 seats. There's no new seats in Cavan Monaghan. I thought there would be one new seat, but there isn't any new seats. So there's 5 seats and there's 21 people. So it's an insane amount of people. And the ballot paper is going to be that long. Like, it's going to be fucking huge, the ballot paper. Now, here's the candidates, I suppose. So obviously we have the current TDs, Brendan Smith, Fianna Fáil, Deputy Neve Smith, Deputy Matt Carty, Deputy Pauline Tully. Obviously, Heather Humphreys is not seeking re-election to the door. Councillor O'Reilly, Councillor David McGrail, Councillor Robbie Gallo. Robbie Gallo should be up there. I don't know why Fianna Gael are there. Oh, it's sitting TDs, yeah, sorry, excuse me. Councillor Sarah O'Reilly, Councillor Shane P. O'Reilly, all the O'Reillys. Carl Bradley, Cameron Brady, Joseph Duffy. I don't know who this Joseph Duffy is. Does anybody know? I don't know who this Joseph Duffy is. I'm trying to figure out who this person is. I know about Fal Martin, the Irish Freedom Party. Lester Gordon's the Independent from Ballychin stuff. I know about him. Mark Maru, the National Party. I don't know who this is. Ben Gilroy's. Not Ben Gilroy. Is it Ben Gilroy? Yeah, Ben Gilroy. I don't know who this person is. I have to figure that out too. I know about the People Before Profit. She ran before the Green Party. More independents. I don't know who these independents are. Actually, I do know. There's one of them that's a farmer from Monaghan. I actually heard of him before, yeah. I'm not too sure about these independents. Well, there's 3 independents there. I'm not too sure what's happening, but I'll probably hear more about it sooner or later. But I don't know who this Liberty Republic one is. So I don't know. Does anybody know them, I suppose? Because I don't know. I heard about the man, I think it's Jimmy. Yeah, he's Monaghan, up in Monaghan direction. He ran before. I remember him. But I don't know. I probably feel, see, that's why I haven't made my video. I've recorded a bit of the stuff. I've recorded a bit of the stuff for the video, who I'm going to vote from, what I think about all the candidates, etc. But I haven't. See, I don't know who all the candidates, so I can't put it out yet. So I wait for a while. You're asking Cavan Bonney yet, so you're asking Tall and Ian, which one? So basically what you would call far right, excuse me, candidates would be pretty much the. These would be the so-called far right, so-called quotation marks. This is I suppose, I don't know, but I suppose Liberty will probably would be. I don't know about the independents, the other independents. I don't know about them yet, but definitely, I'd be speaking up with like Lester Gordon too, and Val Mountain. You probably know me as a YouTuber. Would be very vocal in mass immigration, etc., compared to me, I suppose, in a way. But yeah, them people. I don't know. Again, I don't know much about these people, so I can't really speak yet about it. Yeah, you get what I'm saying in quotation marks. You know, you get what I'm saying. I'm only saying that's very sarcastic. But 21 Fist is going to be huge in the ballot. Like it's going to be a nightmare for me to try and figure out 21. Like it's going to be that big of a ballot. It's insane. Like even in Kerry and stuff like that, it's only small. It's not even big, huge. Like in Cavan and I don't know where everybody's coming out of the mountaintops to one. Um, Voting in the election, we're very good. It's been my first time too. I voted in the referendum too. I said it before about to Finland. I don't know. You probably wouldn't hear at the time, but when I went to Finland, literally, I had a book literally a year in advance. Listen to this: a year in advance, I had the holiday book to go to Finland. Right? Listen to this. And the day I pick, like, listen to this: literally a few hours before the election, before 11 o'clock the night before the election, local authority and European election, I booked to go to Finland. Now I didn't know that a year beforehand that it was going to be on that exact day. And it was. And I was mighty pissed. Like, I genuinely was mighty pissed over it because I wanted the vote. So I was very pissed over it. Like, I genuinely was mighty pissed. Because it was just the worst time ever. The first time in the history of my life I left the state was the day that like you couldn't make it up. It was just the worst time imaginable. And I was that raging about it. To be totally honest. So at least this time I'm going to be here. You know. Transfer votes, yeah. Like you remember transfer votes and stuff like that are a thing in this country too. But as I say, I'm going to give them. I speak about in the video when that time comes who I'm going to be voting for. But long story short, a lot of these people here and a good lot of the independents do will get a good reference for me. Fianna Fáil, Fianna Gael, that's not going to happen. Or Sinn Féin, that's not going to happen. Where's the Labour Party? There was a Labour Party woman here. Is she here? I don't think she is. Oh, people before profit are not going to. The Green Party certainly is not going to happen. But apart from that, I'm open to the independents. See, it's going to be hard to know who to give number one. We talk about when the time comes, I suppose. Like, I have a fair idea, basically, what I'm trying to say. Like some of the other independents, I don't know exactly the policies or what they're talking about. But give it time and I figure it out, basically. But I'll put up a video talking about it, don't worry. Oh, happy birthday. Hello, Tony. I was going to say happy birthday to you. You confused me. We'll get to that now in a second. I'm doting Joe Biden, but a huge amount of people going in the election, which I suppose is good in the way. There's a lot of people. There's a different variety of people going, but compared to just the mainstream political parties. Oh, so you're calling her a bit younger, Tony. She's 39, not 29. She's going back in time. But yeah, so apparently the snow coming Monday. So that's going to be good. So are we looking forward to the snow? Because the snow. Yeah, it's Aaron only. Nobody said happy birthday. Well, a few people did actually said Aaron only. So we're not going to give out to people. What do you mean? I don't know what. Lebanon. What do you mean by Lebanon? I'm talking about the Irish army over there. But yeah, as people keep pointing out, this Sanna Marin's birthday today, the former Prime Minister of Finland. So she's traveling a long way. She had to travel from Helsinki to Sunik all the way to Singapore. So she's in Singapore at the moment. You notice the way, just to point out, you notice the way she says weekend. So the party's going to happen all night. So, it's a long party hours, basically, because it's not even just today, Aaron only. Like, take for example, you could be like Santa here. Like, it's all weekend. This was yesterday, just to say. Friday. So the party started yesterday and it's going to go on to Sunday or Monday. So the dance parties are going to keep going. So that's what's happening. Yeah. Me. So yeah, in appreciation of Sana Day, that's why I'm mind that. But that's why I'm wearing the Santa top. You don't see me often wearing it. But that's because of too many bloody t-shirts in this fucking house. Excuse my language, but there's too many t-shirts. So that's what I'm wearing that for. Obviously, it's Santa Day, basically. Isn't it great? It's Santa Day. So yeah. And obviously it's Ewanoni's birthday too today. So it's Santa Day and Ewanoni's birthday. Ewanoni Day too, of course. Give me a second there. So just refresh the chat too, just because. Here we are. Just having a drink. Me to get my phone. I'm back in a second. Just over to the side. Oh, we should all sing happy birthday. It used to be so awkward when I was in school and stuff like that. We used to have to sing happy birthday and stuff. Let me see. Is there anything else? There's nothing really else to touch on at the moment. In terms of the election and stuff like that. Not with this, like there's hundreds of stuff happening around the country, I suppose, if that makes any sense. Yeah, as this person points out in Twitter, just going back to the Green Party for a second. I think he's won in the local election, no, the European election, was it? Independent, yeah, in the Bray North. That's interesting. I don't know. I think it's a miracle how they got into power, but anyway, we're not stuck in, so I will shut up. But long story short, so this person's won in the general election in Dublin Bay North as an independent. It's funny how nobody has a veto on who lives beside them in what the government says. But how is this? How is this the case? How does this make any sense? Not to overlook my TD, being a Green Party TD objects. It doesn't make any sense, does it? How does that make any sense? Nobody has a veto, and then you look and you say, the Green Party have vetoes on who lives in their area. There must be just on, but the only Irish Paddy. Paddy doesn't have a veto. But if you're a TD, of course you have a veto. But if you're a Paddy that works a 9 to 5, we don't care. But if you're one of the elite, you have a veto. And it's funny that the one thing that's funny about it is that this fellow wants the right to house, and basically wants to make right to house in the Constitution. Not even that, too. He's the Green Party spokesman for housing. So it's a good start to the Green Party. So it just goes to show the Green Party are just gone beans. To be totally honest with you. Gum beans. The gum beans. The gum bean party. Well, there's a lot of gum beans, so you can't just say one gum bean. There's multiple gum beans. Who lives beside Rodrigo Gorman? No one. It's all pre-approved. Yeah. But very hypocritical to take. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Imagine if it was an asylum set that you lose his plot. And these are social housing like 300, and he's already complaining about it. So, like, you would bet your $5 there's not one within a mile of his house. But it's okay when it happens to other people's houses. The taxpayer. It doesn't matter. You can see why. Like, take for example, that loan at the moment, they're trying to put in 1,000 young men from Timbuktu into accommodation in that loan. Even County Councillors are in that loan at the moment, giving a fuck about it, and so widely so, because they objecting to it, and so widely so too. But there's no freedom for them. There's no freedom. They're just kind of go and buy the councillors and buy the people in that loan and just kind of pushing them in anyway. The Gaudi are down with the Bartons, and they're forcing them in, and they're going to force them in to come hell or high water. That's what they're doing. And you would bet your fine dollar if refugees. I propose too that this fellow's house, wherever he is in Dublin, that we build a big refugee centre there from in front of his house out of his back garden. That's what I propose. And because it wouldn't last 5 minutes. That's what that proposal would be gone in 5 seconds. Oh, is he husband of Catherine Martin, the Minister for Media? And again, this is the person that paid off 40, the Minister for Media. Well, yeah, Bobby Kennedy got a job with the Trump. But see, this is the thing you have to realize, and we're just going back to the American election. I don't know. I couldn't tell you who's Catherine. I can look that up now. But Bobby Kennedy, take for example, only for Bobby Kennedy dropping out of the race. Like, he got 600,000 votes, even though he wasn't in the race. You know the way they can write down who you propose for president in America. 600,000 people still. So basically, if you take, for example, Ireland, there's 5 million people. So 600,000, nearly a million people, take, for example, of the Irish population comparing it to America, voted for Robert F. Kennedy, even though he wasn't running for president, he withdrew his nomination. So imagine if he was running, he would have got 3 or 4, he would have got a few figures, he would have got 30 or something million. It would have took votes from Kamala Harris, and he would have took votes from Donald Trump. So only for him pulling out, it might have weakened, particularly the Trump vote. Like, a lot of people who didn't vote for, would have voted for Robert F. Kennedy, only for Robert F. Kennedy endorsed Donald Trump. It would have been very split, so he might not have won. Because Robert F. Kennedy was a strong candidate. A lot of people wanted to see him as president, etc., etc. Yeah, but he still got 600,000. Like, if you look up the figures, he still did, because the people can write down who you propose for president, and 600,000 people did propose him for president. Still, even though he wasn't there, what am I saying here? Yeah, no bother. Thank you. I could not pronounce the first name, but thank you for being here. Appreciate it. That I think it is. I hope I'm saying that right, but thank you for appreciating you for being here. Hope to see you again sometime. Yeah, you Eamon Devereux's grandson, he is not seeking re-election to all, Eamon. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, later. I hope you great rest of your night. Yeah, he's leaving. He's not later. You see, I'm dyslexic and it's atrocious, so forgive me if I ever say it wrong. So forgive me for that. But I hope you have a good rest of your night, and I'll chat to you again. I don't know who Catherine Mountain's married to. Give me a second. Put this back. Sorry about that. I had to use the voice thing because I can't spell to save my life. Oh, you're right. She is married to Francis Noah Duffy. Yeah, that's why the picture. I was wondering why the picture was like that. So she is married to him. Interesting. So it's even worse again. Yeah. Well, thank you, I know, because that's why if I ever pronounce stuff wrong, it's because of dyslexia. And same with spelling. If I'm replying to anybody's comment or anything, my spelling's atrocious. So just work with me on that. Like, that's why it's better for me to talk and stuff like that compared to write and stuff like that. I'm a lot better talker than I am of writing and stuff like that and pronouncing stuff. I seen something about that earlier on that Philip Dry was going for it. Yeah, I seen something about that. I can't remember where I seen it. I seen something about it. It's hard to keep track of everything. It is a nightmare. Later on, yeah, we're here for another while. I don't know how long we'll be here. We might be to 9:30. We won't be that late, I suppose. You'll probably see us again soon enough, I know. Like, definitely see 100 million videos the next few days. But yeah, we'll probably be live more next week too at some stage. But most likely, Wednesday, and so I'm choosing breaking news. Sorry, I'm just listening to this here. Uh, so I'm just listening to this bit. Yeah, I often watch streams. Oftentimes, I often see it. Not all the time, but I often sometimes be like you would often see me maybe in chat, but I don't like obviously with spelling and stuff like that's atrocious. So I just kind of look in the chat sometimes. Sometimes, not all the time. So I could be there sometimes, could be not. Um, sorry, I'm just listening to this bit. So Mary Lou McDonald was asked. I think it's in where was it? Somewhere down the country. I know. So Mary Lou McDonald, the Sinn Féin leader. Sorry, fluent and Finnish, but like Jesus Christ, you mean to say I'm fluent in Finnish? I don't think he's a some other. I know of some other like you would know from Farrell Mountain. It depends what you're looking at. There's some people that do different things, not compared to what I do talk politics. There's not many people in Cavan that do this like politics stuff. There's not many people that do it. But are you talking about them just generally? I suppose I know of a few people in generally you can tell you to watch, but it might not float your boat. I suppose in that way. So just give me a moment, just to say to give this a watch. But I can't show it all now, but do have a look at it. It's on Twitter and that. In general, yeah. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll be with you then. And so this man here, it seems like he's walks in the pub or something. So he's asking Mary McDonald the whole immigration policy, the Sinn Féin's on whole immigration, it's Sinn Féin's, and well, whole too, I suppose. He's not very happy. Let's put that way. So the only thing she really do is uh, she doesn't acknowledge the fact. Basically, she just it's the central government's policy, etc., etc. So do recommend just having a watch of this if you have a chat to the Michael Keefe's Shredder. It's probably going to be everyone Shredder. But at least in fairness, she didn't run away like Leo Varadkar. At least hold the man a bit. In fairness, give her that because Leo Varadkar just went away from that woman. As soon as he has, then he could. But she probably we don't have the full video. Probably there's probably more of it. But you can see OT they have a microphone. But I presume they're not going to air it because he's not he's not with the narrative. So they're not going to do that. But yeah. But I presume she just went away after the end. But at least she hold him out for a second. So in general, yeah, there's a YouTuber like from here, from what is Bridge here. He does kind of different things. It's hard to describe it. I get it for you. Just give me 2 seconds. There's some other YouTubers and stuff like that. There's nothing too major. Give me a moment. You probably maybe already know about this, Brian. Like, isn't that many people do things around Cavan? Yeah. Sure, just show you. Probably already know about it, but just to show you. If you like old things, particularly old videos and stuff about cavan and stuff like that, or the music and stuff. If you're interested in that, I don't know if it's you might just general just to look back. It's interesting just to look back at things, like take was in town years ago. It's an interesting thing. Like take for example the Royal School back in the 90s. Take for example, you could know some of these people. I know I've pointed out 3 or 4 people that I've seen when they were younger that are grown up now. So like think like the channel's name is Butler's Bridge. So so there's a good few things. He does different things, etc. etc. Different you see concerts and stuff from the 80s. Different things like that. There's a good ones that where was the most popular? Sorry, go back up. But just to show you, the way I recommend a few of them for you. If you remember cavan back in the day, like say for example, Killer Chandler in Milltown, old documentaries, but particularly 1992. Look at this one. If you were born in Cavan Town and stuff like even just looking at it from a perspective, things were very different in Cavan 1992. It's only a few years ago, but still, everything's different. I did out and about in Cavan 2000, even 2002. This is a year before I was born. Things are very different. You see all the old cows, etc., etc. It's an interesting watch, basically. That's what I'm saying. Old videos, there's old things too. Mass, the Derry Gower and Butler's Bridge there, the set of the Playboy in White Hills. It's interesting history. So do have a look if you have a chance. It's Butler's Bridge. Particularly the old videos of Cavan Town, you see the difference. I floats a boat. Some people might not be interested, but I do recommend having a look at it. The few other YouTubers, I'm just trying to take. Like, there's not that many that does much around Cavan. It's power of you probably know Planet of the Gale. He does. I don't know why Planet of the Gale too. You probably know of him and you probably know. I say you know him already, but I'm just trying to. Can't think of any other YouTubers now at the top of my head. Yeah, I've seen that video. I've seen the one where the girl comes out. There's a woman girl, and she comes out and says, "You're one of the murderers," etc., etc. At least, obviously, he's not doing anything wrong. I don't know so much about flying drones and stuff. I don't know what the law could be there, but as far as I see, he's doing nothing wrong. I know. Oh, Planet of the Gale. Aaron only would know of him, etc., etc. But I'm assuming you heard of. I can't remember his name, but he's his name on it too. Where is he? It's not good. See, I've tried to look it up. I've subscribed to him. I don't know. See, YouTube acts weird sometimes and unsubscribes me from people. It does happen. Thomas Pryor, Pryor, Planet of the Gale. Thank you. Yeah, no. See, it's. I think it's unsubscribed me. I was subscribed to his channel. Now I seem to be unsubscribed because it's not on my subscriber list. See, I'm subscribed to that many people, and it's that many people. But I'm surprised you don't know it. But that's another YouTuber in Cavan. Just to say, I don't know if you ever heard him. Just had tea. Great time, Sean. It's great for that. It's great for the. It's well for something. In other words, I'm just trying to see where is this YouTube channel? Just trying to look for it. YouTube just loves annoying me. Like literally the very bottom. I found it now. I've got it. Give me a second. Sorry, I've literally just found it. It literally had to go through heaven and earth to find it, but I found it. Yeah, so it's just Planet of the Gale. If you look up that on YouTube, you should get it. Like he does things. He doesn't maybe upload as frequent as maybe me and stuff like that. Apologies, but I just he covered the container too. Yeah. The YouTube acts weird sometimes. Like I showed that I was unsubscribed, but it says I am subscribed. So I don't know how. Like I clicked into it and it said it was subscribed. Then when it didn't show up, it's weird. Sometimes YouTube just acts fucking weird. So yeah. See, it's the same with many things. oftentimes I have to subscribe 6 or 7 times before it literally leaves me to subscribe. It's insane. It's not even that I've subscribed to the channel and it's unsubscribed me. Like just there, I've looked, but it showed like how to explain it. When I clicked onto my subscriber page to see my subscribe, like the people who I subscribe to, I looked down. I went down the list to see could I find it, and it didn't show it. Then I had to type it up to look for it, and then I clicked into the profile and it showed me I was subscribed. But before that, it didn't show up. So God only knows what that ad's about, but I don't know. It's happened before. I've often looked up channels and I couldn't find them because it would. Yeah, he's pissed on why you get me. I'm pissed in the wine. Jesus, cheese and wine. Kingdom of West Cavan today. Today we're going to do it today. So yeah, I would upload that video probably tomorrow on deportations, etc., etc. Birthday, yeah, toast the women's birthday, yeah. Exactly. But yeah, so, it couldn't be much more. Like, how much more do you want, really? Funny thing is, I've been wearing this pin around the last few days, and people are giving me weird looks because the way people are canvassing for the election, they have buttons and stuff like that for who they're voting for, Fianna Fáil and stuff like that. Drinking that out, but it's funny. I know I wore this around the last few days just for the joke. That's literally what I done. And people have been looking at it very weirdly. They're just kind of probably like, is that somebody running in Cap? It'd be pretty funny. We should just ask them to put her face onto it, just the shits and giggles. Imagine that we will put her name down, and even though she isn't, even though she doesn't know she's won and she wins the election, it'd be such a laugh. I don't know about the people in about the people who's running for the election, but harmless. Yeah, I know harm because I'm not going around saying you vote this one number one. I'm just kind of wearing it around the last few days. I just out and about just for the shits and giggles. Because people usually used to seeing Fianna Fáil, vote Fine Fall, vote Fine Gael, vote Sinn Féin, vote this, vote that, vote the other. They're all the fucking same. Excuse me. You need a real woman in the job to sort them out. You need a Finnish woman to speak some angry Finnish words, and that's how we solve it. So you get a woman into sort it. So I just want to briefly touch. I talked about this many, many times before. The Chemical Brothers it's a Twitter account, and this is the dude. So there's 110, and they wrote a letter beginning of last year, was it, to the president. Obviously, the president is the commander in chief of the army. So there is 110 unexplained deaths in the Irish Air Corps over the last few years. Not so much maybe now, but over the last 10, 20 years, people who have retired, they have illnesses from dealing with chemicals. Because obviously when you're dealing with planes and stuff like that, there's chemicals to do with the engine, etc., etc. So long story short, there is 110 deaths kind of relating to chemical toxins. Because again, in engines and stuff for planes, there is toxins that have to use, like chemicals to use to keep the engine going, etc., etc. So, there's very little talked about. There was a letter written to the president about it, but nothing has ever come of it, as far as I can gather. And it's never really been acknowledged. It's kind of been always put under the carpet. So, and particularly Caleb Barry, the fellow who used to be in the Irish, he used to be in the elite section of the Irish Army. He's an independent, but basically he's nearly Fine Gael. He basically votes for Fine Gael and everything. And this is the thing. He used to be one of the elite soldiers in the Irish Rangers. The Irish Rangers are basically the special forces, like the SAS, the United States Marine Corps. They're most elite of the elite, basically. And basically he's now a public representative. And it is quite a shame that he's never really done much in this way to raise awareness of this particularly. So I would say not to fall from Cadabawi, even though he has military experience, etc., and he's served the country in the armed forces, etc., etc. But particularly, say not referencing this. And obviously, too, he's voting for Fine Gael. He's a Fine Gaeler, basically. He goes, whatever Fine Gael does, he does with them. So he might as well join Fine Gael at this stage. He's not much of an opposition independent. If I was there, I'd be giving a fuck, basically, in terms of the Feds. And I'll have to make a video on the Feds, too, because Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael have destroyed the Feds forces. Whatever's left of them, they've destroyed it. And we all know why, but I would say not to vote Cahabawi in the election, anyway. Because, again, he's pretty much Fine Gael in disguise, pretty much. And that's just my people differ on that, but just my opinion, because he's really done nothing in a way in terms of the Feds forces. At least the one thing I would have said, he should have went in the time to reform of the government. He should have maybe been minister for defence. I missed half of the stuff. I'm sorry, I missed a good bit of it as well. Because I can't scroll up, you see. There's a problem in this computer that I can't scroll up for some reason. But ruling the waves, yes. We're going to annex Leitrim and get the shoreline of Leitrim to build a mighty fleet. We're going to get Yamato. We're going to get a bigger ship than Yamato on the high seas. It would be bigger than the Irish Navy. It's only one ship in the Irish Navy, so if we get one ship going, we'll be bigger than the Irish. If we get two ships on the go, we're bigger than the Irish Navy. Like the Icelandic Coast Guard could come down here now and be bigger than the Irish. Like the funniest thing, the Icelandic Coast Guard, not even a navy, has 5 ships, and they're just the Coast Guard and have 5 ships, and they're bigger than the Irish Navy because the Irish Navy only has one whole ship in the whole Republic of Ireland on the high seas. For a million, it's a joke. Speaking of the high seas and piracy and all that. Speaking of war and speaking of the high seas fleet, the Irish high seas fleet, what am I yucking for? I'm doting. Washington. I was said to you about this the other day. So there's an I wouldn't. What would you say? There's a how would I phrase this? There's a spy ship, I suppose. I would call it the spy ship because it's acting very weird off the coast of Dublin. It was down in Cork side now, but it's up the coast of Dublin. I'm trying to get a map so we can show you. But it's off the southern Irish coast. Well, not the southern, what would you call Dublin side, the state? And particularly, it's in a very dangerous areas. It moved from even to Warsaw area now because it's operating near fighter cables, underground sea cables. Where is this? Sorry, I'm just trying to get a good, just to explain to you. But no, there's a Russian ship, spy ship. It's an unarmed vessel, but it's under heavy. It's in a very dangerous place, I suppose. Let's put that way. So it's on at the moment around that side. So so the one Navy ship that's left in the whole country is escorting it out of Irish water because this is in Irish territory waters. It's entered Irish territory waters. So it is kind of a spy ship because they're underground cables. Like they literally are on underground cables. Energy pipes and data cables. So they're collecting what I think they're doing. Because beforehand they were out in the Irish, like outside the Irish Sea. They're in the Irish Sea at the moment. Now, obviously, there's a huge amount of Royal Navy ships in the staying in Irish territorial waters because there's a big British fleet there waiting for them too. And there's French ships around too, and there's United States cruisers around too. So there's the whole shebang is around. But basically, this is the only ship in the whole Irish Navy at the moment for the whole coastline of Ireland. And it's basically escorting the ship out of Irish territorial waters. But it's so this is the thing, but particularly they definitely are spying on, or they're definitely trying to collect out on where the pipelines are, etc., etc. Because the reason why I say that, beforehand they were down towards Cork, where they're in the middle of the ocean, basically, and now they're up beside Dublin, So, and particularly they're literally right above critical energy and data cables. So the Air Corps is monitoring the ships, but they're in violation of Irish territorial waters. They're not in international waters; they're in Irish territorial waters now. So that's why they've been escorted away. And obviously, no country should be in, regardless of its Russia, regardless of its Timbuktu, No other country should have any navy ships in Irish territorial waters. Or particularly, it's unarmed more, but it's no purpose really, because it's not going anywhere. Basically, it's just hanging around underneath over cables. That's what I'm trying to say. So it'd be different if it was passing through, and just keep going. But it's the fact that it's stopping and kind of acting very suspiciously. So but there's a huge amount of Royal Navy ships and stuff like. So the Persians the Thursday and Friday, the 250 meters off the west coast of Cork on Tuesday. Then they transferred up to near the Island of Man. So they're near the Island of Man at the moment, around that area, but in the Irish territorial water side. So that's where they are at the moment. But so it is such a thing. There's a huge, as I say, there's a huge, the whole NATO, as it says, it's bedtime around the Island of Man. There's a huge British naval presence. There's a huge amount of destroyers and everything. Like the Royal Navy has a huge amount of ships up and ready. They're not in British. Like I think they're not near the Island of Man because that's British territorial waters. But they're basically in the middle of the Irish territorial waters and British territorial waters. So it's up, but they shouldn't be here in the first place, especially because they're hanging about cables. They literally are hanging about. Like it'd be different if they were kept going. Like the fact that they're still just kind of hanging about. Like the only reason why they moved off now because the Navy ship is there and they kind of have to because they have this ship is unarmed. But obviously they shouldn't be here. It's the simplest fact. The same with any other ship. It'd be different if they kept going and just kept going. But it's the fact they're kind of hanging about and they're around the Irish coast the last few days. So, and it's particularly because it's vital energy cables, etc., in that particular area. So they couldn't be there for any other reason. And it's the fact they have no purpose really. It'd be different, say, if they're going to Dublin, take for example, to collect cargo or something like that, or going to London or somewhere. But it's the fact they're just kind of hanging about. That's what's. But they're definitely there just to look to see where the underground cables are. But you have to remember the Irish Navy ships are not. They only have one main gun. But it shouldn't be here now. That's what I said. Like I wouldn't say we do have under international law. You don't fire at ships. They probably fire. You can fire a warning shot over the bow, but you can't fire on a ship unless it's a hostile ship. Unless it's like actually firing back at you under an international law in the naval terms. Like the Irish Navy could seize the ship if it wanted to now, but obviously that would cause a lot of issues. But technically, if it's in Irish territorial waters, they can seize it. They can stop any ship in Irish territorial waters. But it's the fact there's only one ship in the whole Navy, there's not really much they can do to stop it if it tries to flee or anything like that. But it was escorted out of the Irish territorial waters. But it shouldn't be here in the first place. So, there's something about ships. So just to say, but remember the Irish Navy and the Irish Rangers, the Irish Army Rangers, seized the ship off the coast of Ireland. It was a drug ship, had loads of cocaine and stuff like that. It was the biggest haul in the history of the state. Do you remember that a few months ago? So obviously that was a big cargo ship. They tried to flee into international waters, but the Irish Navy caught them, obviously. Oh, Jesus, I heard you before, Gordon, Jesus. So just to say, this is a drug ship. So first of all, if I was head of the Navy, to be totally honest with you, and particularly because this ship tried to flee, so straight away, as soon as they seen the coast, like the Irish Navy turn up in the ship to try and stop it, because the Irish Navy were trying to stop the ship, they tried to flee into international waters. So they basically tried to flee from the Irish coast when they were in illegal activity. Now, the Irish Navy fired a warning shot over the bow. To be totally honest, it's a basic pain for the maintaining of the ship. Even though it's breaking the law, like this is a joke too. They were caught breaking the law. Like they had millions of euro worth of drugs in the cargo, and they didn't stop for the Irish authorities. If you have a ship now in the morning, if it's a cargo ship, even though you're doing nothing wrong, the Irish Navy can stop you and sort you. Like you in our territorial waters, not international waters. It's the same in any country. It's your territorial waters. You know, the Navy is entitled to stop any ship if it wants to check for contraband or anything like that. But this ship tried to flee the Irish Navy. So I would have said it would have been better to sink the ship because it was actively, like at least the Russian warship, they're not the Russian warship, but it's kind of civilian festival, surveillance warship, I suppose we got. Complied with the Irish Navy and left. Followed the Irish Navy out of territorial waters. This actively tried to flee the Navy. So I would have probably opened fire on this, to be totally honest, because it wouldn't stop Irish when they were demanded to stop. First of all, they were told to stop, and they didn't stop. They were told a few times to stop. Then they fired the warning shot, and then they continued on. So to be totally honest, that considered in international law standards, that would have considered hostile action. So I would have probably, if I was the commander on the ship, I would have told to sink it. That's what I would have, because we're paying 5.3 million, and counting just to say that's 7 million now. This is a few weeks ago. It's 7 million now. We're literally looking after a drug ship. Like it's a joke. So on board was, as I say, 170 million euro worth of drugs, and we're paying for that. Isn't it great? It doesn't make any sense. But the way they generally shouldn't, like, to be totally honest, it should be sold for scrap because it has broken the law in the state, and again, especially because it didn't comply with orders the Irish Navy give it. So it should be scrapped or sunk. I'm saying, like, I wouldn't mind if it was stopped, etc., but I would have sunk it, to be totally honest. Yeah, like scrap it, because again, it was 175 million worth of drugs. It's nothing to scoff at. That's a lot of money in drugs and stuff like that, and particularly that it tried, like, again, his hostile action under the laws of the sea, etc., and the rules of engagement, etc., because that's what in the Navy, etc. If a ship doesn't stop, you're supposed to order it to stop, etc. And then obviously fire a shot over its bow. But if it kept going, even though the Irish Navy fired 2 shots over its bow, it wouldn't stop. So that's what they had to get the Irish Army Rangers in on a helicopter to rappel down, etc., to seize control of the ship. So they did have every right to really shoot it, like to blow it out of the water ship, or to hit it 2 or 3 times. But again, you see the amount of money that's been wasted, and even though these people broke the law, and even the people that owned the ship, they must have known that it was carrying drugs. It couldn't be that bad that they don't know it's carrying hundreds of millions of euro worth of drugs. But it's straight away, as soon as they seen the Irish Navy, they straight away tried to flee international waters, because international waters, the Irish Navy can't do shit about anything. The same with any navy; they can't stop any ship. But again, it's costing the state that much money. So, like, think about that. Like, literally, we're doing wrong in the state, and we're paying for the upkeep of the ship. Because technically, again, the thing is, it was seized by the Irish government, cavan, like in that terms. So that's the reason why. Yeah, but still, nonetheless, I'm sure you would agree, Aaron, they shouldn't be really hanging about the Irish coast, even though the fact that they're hanging over that, they shouldn't really. It's this. I would say the same with any American destroyers or even any other country, the Dutch state, even the Finnish Navy. They shouldn't really be hanging around. Like, imagine if we woke up in the morning, those Finnish Navy ships just hanging about off the coast of Sligo. We'd be like, what the fuck are they doing in Irish territory waters? Why are they here? Should they not be in the Baltic? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't really, like, understandably, the Royal Navy would have to kind of come into into Irish waters, because obviously we're just literally right beside the Royal, like, England. But a Russian surveillance ship doesn't have really any business being off the coast of Ireland, really, in a way. You get what I'm saying? I'm sure you get what I'm talking about. Yeah, but there's nothing really you can do, because I don't suggest that we shoot the ship, because it would cause a big international incident. But again, the Irish Navy, if they had enough ships, they could send out the ships and they would run away, basically. It's the fact of the matter, say the Irish Navy had 16 or 17 ships, they would run like mad. It's the fact they won't go into British waters because the Royal Navy's waiting for them. There's loads of destroyers. There's about, I think they said there's 15 or so destroyers like on standby to to escort away from the British coast. Like the Royal Navy actually have a navy that can actually go out and stop them. You know, so that's why. Like we only have one ship in the whole country that's active, and that's the ship that's there pushing them away now. No, it's underground cables. It's underground cables, the transatlantic cables. Ireland's like the internet cables that do with the banking, etc., and there's electricity cables going underneath the Atlantic Ocean. And obviously, the first place of call is Ireland to the European Union. So that's why Ireland's very strategic in that regard. And then obviously, even just take for example the Irish Sea, there's cables going from Ireland to England. So even just sabotaging that cable would cause absolute chaos in the markets, etc. You know, but that's the only reason why they would be there, because there's no really other reason why they'd be off the Dublin coast, just popping about. You know, it'd be like us going over to St. Petersburg, an Irish warship just turning up in St. Petersburg and just hanging about. You know, it'd be pretty weird. You know, I'm sure you would agree. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's the fact of the matter too. We don't have any like fish. Like take for example, French fishermen now with the trawlers could come up here now and fish as much as they want. There's nothing to stop them. Because the people who have to, the people that are employed to stop them is the navy. And if there's only one navy ship for the whole country, you know, imagine the amount of people who are legally fishing here in this state, like off the coast of Ireland, because there's nobody to stop. There's no navy ship, you know, to stop them. So think about that too. So that would go too. So in all terms, you fuck. Then obviously drug smugglers too are just let one rampant because the navy should like there's huge amount of Ireland's a big country and it's a big there's a lot of territorial waters. There's a million or so miles of territorial waters, and like it's a huge amount of territorial waters. Like there's only one, like literally there's 6 or 7 ships of the Irish Navy docked in port because there's nobody to man the ships. So that's why there's only one ship. But just going back to that ship for a second. It's costing 10. I don't know why the state's paying this. Like the company, the people who own the ship should be paying it. So it's costing €100,000 per week to maintain the ship. Like it'd be better just sinking it, to be told answer. Like that's just insane. It's a joke. And then obviously this weird thing too. People were talking about this. Residents of County Cork town had enough of loud noises coming from the detained ship. So there's noises coming from the ship. So I don't know what's happened there. I presume the revenue are just kind of tearing it apart to try and find more drugs. There might be more drugs somewhere. A loud generator. I don't know what they're doing. A loud generator. There's something fishy with that. Very loud engine exhaust. I don't know what they're doing. Then it's very weird what they're doing. So I don't know. Who knows what that's about? It's a ghost ship. I don't know, but it's stupid, because I wouldn't pay a penny for it. But at the end of the day, too, it would have been the first time if the Irish Navy did open fire on the ship. It would have caused a big fucking hullabaloo anyway if they did shoot it, because it would have been the first time in Irish history that a ship was sunk by the Irish Navy. So it wouldn't have probably sunk the ship because it's a huge ship now. It would take a lot to sink a big container ship like that. But, you know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the fact there's no Navy to stop them, because it's the Navy that stops illegal fishing, etc., etc. And the same with drugs and stuff like that. So there's no navy, so they just let one wild. Basically, that's pretty much what's happening. So, and again, it's all because of what the European Union, like they already signed the deal that the NATO, they have a deal with NATO, they're probably paying NATO money, but to patrol Irish waters, etc., etc., because they don't want to pay people to do work here, basically. They don't want to pay sailors to go on ships. That's the problem here. We talk about it in a while. In terms of like not what I'm trying to say. I do a video like before the election, just talking about the state of the defence force because it is pretty bad. Like it is the worst in Europe. The state of the defence force in this country, and not because of the people in the defence force, the army itself, like, and the government have like completely underfunded it. Like they've done it on purpose. Like the main thing they want to do is join the European. They want to have a European army. That's what they want. And that's all they're bet. That's what they're betting on the government. They don't want an Irish army. They want a Free State army. They don't believe in the backwards looking idea of sovereignty. As Micheál Martin Vims said, he's the Minister of Defence. So that just tells you all you need to know. Because sovereignty is about defending yourself too. And I said this before. That's what I think of it as. So it's pretty bad. Even though it's getting better a bit because we have military radar now. Like basically, we have military radar that can see stuff that civilian radar can't see. And by the way, we're the last country in Europe to have military radar, just to say. So literally, it took us into 2024 to get military radar. Just to say, Britain had military radar back in the 40s during the Second World War. So just to say, we're a long way. Even Luxembourg had, even countries that are doing bad, even Albania has military radar before Ireland, just to say. Countries that don't have as much money as Ireland, it's a joke. It's 100, like literally we're about 50 years behind that because we're the only country in Europe up until now that had military radar. So we're the last country in Europe basically to not have military radar. So at least now we have it. It costs hundreds of millions to get it and stuff. And they're talking about getting anti-aircraft weapons, like missile defenses and Patriot missile defense systems. Because obviously there's nothing here at all to shoot down any plane or any helicopter. There's nothing at all. There's a few javelins, like javelins you put over your shoulder and fire a missile out of them. There's no any anti-aircraft guns or anything. There's a few of them. There's about 20 or 60 or something like that. Anti-aircraft rocket launchers. That's what we call them. Manpads. That's the right word to use. I think that's that. No, it's not anti-tank. The Irish Army has anti-tank weapons too. Like, but there's only 100 and something. They wanted to send them to the Ukraine, but they didn't get off with it. Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier on in that loan. Take, for example, the Green Party and stuff like that. Like, there's no word. Imagine if one of the TD. You know what we should do? We should get one of them to live in Athlone. We should get the local TD to live in Athlone there, near the place, and to see how, as I say, it won't happen then. Because not in my back garden. Not in my front kitchen garden. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like, you wouldn't want to be a diver. There's videos on YouTube about it. Like, it generally would deafen you. It would cause severe neurological problems, etc., etc. But the Irish Navy, this is the thing about the Irish Navy, just to say, these Navy destroyers, etc., etc., we have, and cruisers and mine patrol ships. They don't even have radar. So basically, if there's a submarine under an Irish Navy ship or off the Irish coast, we don't know unless it surfaces and ends up on the surface. The Irish Navy don't have radar on the ships, so basically they can't see what's underneath them. Basically, that makes any sense. There's no military radar on the Irish Navy ships. So basically, there could be hundreds of submarines floating about the coast of Ireland. We still wouldn't know. We don't answer. And we don't have any anti-jet mines, depth charges. That's what they're called. There's none. The Irish Navy don't have any. Would be sonar, yeah. But there's none of them. So basically, we can't tell. But we can only tell when they surface the ships that they're there. It happened off the coast of Ireland a while ago. There was a Russian. No, it was not a. There's a British Navy nuclear sub. Has nuclear weapons on it. It surfaced and it was back a few years ago. Nearly crashed into one of the Irish Navy ships or something. Because the Irish Navy don't know they're there. So something we can just appear and end up hitting off a ship in Ireland because there's no even the Navy ship because they wouldn't know they're there. Like the submarine know they're there, but the Irish Navy don't know they're there. See, And then even if they did know they were there, this is the best part, there's nothing to make them surface because we have no depth charges. The only way to get a submarine to surface if you drop depth charges on them. That's the only way to do it. Like barrels with explosives in them to make them surface. But there's nothing on the Irish Navy ships. So the Irish Navy is basically just like what you can see, basically, Navy. It's not really what you can't see. That's the thing. And just to say, back in the Second World War, whatever the Navy was formed. I think when was it? The Irish Navy was formed. When was it? But the Irish Navy ships they had back then, had a few small Navy ships during the Second World War, and imagine back in the day, back in the 40s, in 1941, and so they had ships in the Irish Navy with sonar on them, but nowadays we don't. Imagine that. And Ireland was a lot less poor back then. Imagine that, and it's insane to think that they actually had sonar on the ships back then. They don't have ships nowadays. I think even the ships in the 60s did, but I don't know why nowadays they don't. It's insane. Yeah, 1946. So the predecessor of the Irish Navy, they had coastal patrol ships, is what it's called. That's what it's called, coastal patrol ships. That's what they used to have. Is like a few small ships with a few guns on them during the Second World War. And they had sonar on them and stuff like that. Nowadays we don't have sonar. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, like it's a navy that basically can only see it. You know, and I think we're the only navy in the world too that doesn't really have it. Like in Europe, because every other country has radar, like sonar, to see what's underneath the surface. We did, but as I just said to you, we literally had it in the 40s and the 60s. The Irish Navy had like sonar to see what's underneath the surface, but nowadays we don't. So I don't get that. Obviously, it would be expensive. It costs hundreds of millions of euro. Like take for example the military radar to see planes that we can't see. Like civilian radar only shows so much. Like things that they can't see in civilian radar, more powerful radar, basically. But the Irish government only got that, but it cost literally hundreds and hundreds of millions to set it up. Like it's a lot of investment. It is a big, huge investment. But again, literally, as I say, Albania had it in the 80s, and Albania is a very poor country, and they had it back then. And Ireland didn't have it. Denmark even has it. Norway has it. Every other country has it. Luxembourg even has military radar. Even though Luxembourg doesn't really need it because they're just surrounded everywhere by countries in NATO, etc., etc. It doesn't make any sense. But we're the last country in Europe to get that. So at least we have it now. At least it's progress. It's progress. But the fact of the matter, we have military radar, and this is the problem I'm having. We have military radar. We have nothing. If something's not supposed to be there, etc., etc., we have nothing to shoot it down. There's only a few man pads, as I said, like what you hold. The person has to hold it, and if I was a rocket up to shoot down the object, we'll have a few of them. I think we have 60 of them in the Irish Army, and that's about it. At the moment, they're talking about getting at the aircraft guns, like missile defense system, Patriot missile defense system, not Patriot missile, but you get them saying something like that, like to be like what you see in Ukraine, somebody be guiding the missiles basically up. How would you describe it? It's hard to describe it, but I'm sure people get what I'm saying. Because we have no fighter jets. We have trainer aircraft, we have helicopters, but they're unarmed. There's no missiles or any guns on any helicopter or any plane in the Irish Navy, Irish Air Corps, excuse me. So we have no fighter jets, and we're the only country too in Europe not to have fighter jets. We have no fighter jets whatsoever. So we are literally as defenseless as it comes, basically. Apart from Iceland doesn't have any aircraft. They have a Coast Guard, but again, Iceland doesn't really need it because there's nothing really around Iceland. But that's what I'm saying. Like it's pretty bad. But even as a neutral country, we should have some kind of means of trying to defend yourself at least. And it's just that bad. All right, Jennifer Calmer. At least in fairness, in fairness to your woman, Jennifer Calmer. Now I can never say her last name, but you get them saying at least in fairness, she did was blowing the whistle a good bit before the election, because obviously she knew the election was coming up and she wanted to get a few votes. But in fairness, at least she blew the whistle when she was like, "This is a disgrace what the Irish Army is like nowadays. It's just underfunded, etc., etc." But we all know that's because the election. There'll be nothing said when she gets back into government. She was over, didn't she? Which one of them was over in Finland? It was Papa Hackett that was over in Finland. Papa Hackett. fortune signal, yeah. Well, but this is the thing. Thank God they didn't send the anti. We have anti-tank. We have no tanks or anything like that. I'm sure everybody knows that in the Irish Army. There's no such thing as that in the country here. We have some artillery guns. That's about it. They wanted to send the artillery. We have some like rockets, the anti-tank rockets. What they call manpads. I think that's what they're called. They wanted to send them out to Ukraine. We have 125 of them here in the state. That's all the Irish Army has. 125, and they wanted to give them to Ukraine. But unfortunately, they couldn't do it. They simply couldn't do it because they couldn't do it because as a neutral country, you had to do that. Simple as that. So they couldn't do it. But what I'm trying to say is, them 125. That's all the state has to deal with that. To deal with tanks, and they were just going to give them away basically. And there was no such thing as we're going to get new ones, etc. So there was no such thing we're going to do without them, basically. So that was that. They were going to do without them, basically. Yeah, but people nowadays get very intimidated with cell phones, etc. But I suppose I can see in a way, I suppose, where they're coming from. Well, not the guards, but only Joes, even just. Your face to be all over social media, etc. etc. I suppose people are more afraid of that nowadays than anything else. Even though majority of people too want their privacy, etc. etc. Like Harry and Meghan, the royal family. But I suppose no privacy nearly in the modern world now. We'll probably go at 10 o'clock. I know we'll wait around a few more minutes. Anyway. Snorkel. Yeah, like a snorkel is what do you call it? Telescopic, isn't it? Like in the submarine, they have a thing that like pokes out of the water. What do they call it? I don't know what you call it, but you know what I'm saying. But as I say, no warship should be here. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look up a submarine, it goes above. It's when the sub is underneath this water that goes up. I don't know what you call it. It's like a telescope, but it's a specific name on it. Cannot think of it anyway. Yeah, like it's something like that. I can't think of the technical name of it. There's a specific name used in the Navy, etc., etc. But I can't think of it. So, but you get what I'm saying? It's something like that. I go a few years back. Yeah, I seen that. Heard about that. Yeah. I just want to briefly touch on something. I meant to touch on it earlier on. A gowl, usually you don't hear many people in Ireland say a gowl. It's more a Limerick phrase down in Limerick. Not so much in Ireland, like in Cavan, you don't hear much people saying you're an awful gowl. But particularly in Limerick, down that part of the country, Clare, around there, it's often used as a phrase. Basically saying you're more of a fool. I think that's more or less what he says, isn't it? It's that kind of thing. That's where it comes from, really. That part of the country, Limerick and stuff. You never hear really people on Cavan, you're an awful gowl. I often heard there was a Social Democrat councillor in Limerick that used that before, but we're not mentioning any names. But yeah, basically, you think something like that. I don't know other Irish people in Limerick. If anybody's from Limerick, would be like it. Yeah, it's more if you go to Limerick, you hear it. I remember Social Democrats councillor using it before, describing people's scowls and stuff like that. Well, not describing people, but something. I can't remember the song, but I remember somebody said she used it. But that's what pretty much it means. A fool or something like that, isn't it? I actually have to look it up. It's not something that I would commonly hear or use. Like up in Cavan, you wouldn't hear it, but down in Limerick and stuff like that, you hear it. Oh, right, sorry. Yeah. No, it wouldn't be something called. It's more than Limerick. I think that's where it originated from back in the day. It's Limerick. So just looking at it up here, a gower is a term used to someone that's annoying or illiterate. Uh, Common slum used in Northern Ireland. I'm like literally this is really pretty much up like beside Northern Ireland. I never heard of anybody in Northern Ireland ever use this. So I presume it's more Limerick. That's what I heard. I heard back in the day that it was Limerick more used to use it. People from Limerick and down now Clare use it. You're an awful gown. Like I can't remember anybody ever saying it in my presence, like beside me, or I was talking to anybody that said it. Like in all my life, I haven't actually ever heard anybody say it. Uh, I don't think there's anybody. Let's just ask anybody here, anybody from Ireland. Did you ever hear anybody say that? Like anybody like you were standing beside, or did you ever say it to somebody? Because I never said it to anybody, and I never heard anybody say it to me or around me, etc. etc. It's not something that's common in this country like that, but I think it's just down. I often hold Limerick losing it on social media, like as I say about that social democratic councillor. It's more down there. I associate it with down there more, down Clare, Limerick and Clare. But the last thing is supposed to end it off for tonight, because we're just about to go in a few minutes' time. But Willie O'D, he has the hash. He's from Limerick. He's the TD, so he's very upset. Same Willie O'D that said he wouldn't vote for the hate crime and he wouldn't vote for the hate speech, etc., etc. Same Willie O'D. He's one. He's one. He's been like he's literally been in the doll since God was a Gosson. Like he's been that long around. Um, he should be long retired to be totally honest with you. But anyway, um, he's crying about Helen McAtee, the former Justice Minister. Now he was in government with Helen McAtee, etc., etc. Like he was basically in bed with the whole lot of them. And he agreed with everything they did. Same with the hate speech and the hate law legislation, in saying there's 900 genders, basically. He agreed with all that. He nodded the head, nodded the head, nodded the head. He didn't question and he didn't stand up and say, actually, I disagree with that, etc., etc. He says it on social media, but he's not good in real life when he gets into the draw. He votes for it. So he's no addition for the video. He should be long gone. He should be long retired, to be totally honest. He's no addition. Especially because again he's just kind of trying to get a few votes. That's what he always about. Because I never heard him say anything about Helen McAtee when he was in government. He wouldn't say, "Oh, she's the worst." Like he literally said, he is the worst minister for justice in the Irish state's history. And I would agree. Charlie Flanagan would probably be my pick for it, but he wouldn't say that when he was in government. So there's no point saying it now. Well, Willie O'Deed's been just in the doll fucking since I don't know. He's there that long. He's just there that long. He's just like he's like the wallpaper. Anyway, I think we probably will leave it out tonight. So yeah. So I'm sure we'll be all going to the pub tonight to celebrate Santa Day. Of course, it's been a great Santa Day. We should have it all the time. We should be literally Santa Day all the time. What's about the t-shirt? Did I not say it on? Let's see. Of course. So that's what it is. Because obviously for Santa Day we have to dress up for the occasion, etc., etc. Obviously, she's not the youngest prime minister in the world. She's it's hardly Christmas. But obviously she's not the youngest prime minister now. She's 39 now. She's getting old a bit. I better be careful because I not get me brown envelopes, so I better be careful. We don't want the brown envelopes to stop. We don't want that, so don't do that to me, Sanna. We don't want to lose my brown envelopes. So please don't do that. Tony Blair, please don't get rid of my envelopes. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So yeah, that's what it is. So happy Santa Day. we're not go there now. We don't have to go there. But long story short, yes. So it's our 39th birthday today. So a lot of parties. If anybody's around Singapore, you can go party. So the party all week, basically. So yeah. Thank you for watching, but enjoy the rest of your night. Yes, I don't want to say, but anyway, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night. And again, happy Saturday and good night.